And you have to like just leave that. But life is not just about being stable. Otherwise, it would be like completely boring. So, and I'm sure that some of you folks who run your own business know that already. So I just had to like take a leap and start my own business basically. So I mean, I saved up enough money to start my own business, and so for the first year I was doing lots of consulting. So I was consulting for people like Disney, Sony, and basically helping them with like search engine optimization and how to like build their communities on their website. And then for the second year, I hired somebody who was supposed to help me build this platform, and Mirai Gaia basically. And it was slow. It was slow. So for 2009, we used up lots and lots of money, and we nearly had to sell the house, and it was very difficult. And I think it was mid-2009, we hired somebody else called Chris from the UK, and he really helped us like really push the company forward basically. So one of the things about running a company is the most important thing is your connections. It's really important. And in Japan, if company they want to make a website, they are more likely to ask someone that they know rather than just go to a website and search for web development company. They just don't do that.
Even in France, it's the same.
Yeah. So it's really important to do that. And I think if you are interested in working like with Japanese clients, one of the most important things I think is like using social networks like Twitter especially, and going to events. So in Japan, it's you either go to events where there's like potential Japanese clients, or you make your own events. So I made my own event, Zijanmat. And so I get together lots of bloggers from all over Japan and lots of clients. So like we've got like Kutsuma, Cospa, Disney, Google. So they all come together and we all network with each other basically. So so that's a really good opportunity to like meet new clients and so on. But yeah, it's my first time running a business, and I don't think you know how to run a business until you actually start. And it's going to be different for everybody because you're doing you're doing different things, you have your different ways of like managing things and so on. But I think that if you have like a goal in life to do something, and maybe if that's to start your own business, then you just need to like run, just keep on running basically. Obviously, if you're driving, there's a little kid in the road. Okay, you're gonna drive around the kid, otherwise you're gonna hit it, right? So it's like, so it's a bad example.
Depends on how many points he's worth.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have a hurdle, you need to like overcome the hurdles. You have to work around it basically. So and that's going to help the business. So and there'll always be ups and downs in running your own business. But you'll reach a point one day whereby it'll like just take off. And so I've just reached that point, which is why when I get like a new potential client and say, hey Danny, we want to work on this, it's very difficult for me to let go of that because it's like a good opportunity. So, but I need to like learn how to just manage my time and priorities a bit more effectively. So I think that's another important thing. That's learning to manage the priorities. So like with Danny Choo and Figure FM, I know there's like lots of small different problems with them, but that's because we want to concentrate on doing the big things rather than doing the small things, basically. So it's just a matter of like putting forward the priorities, basically. So.
Speaking of business, did you think what your first idea was, or did you change at some point in time?
Yeah, so when
it was not the right way to go.
Yeah, when I left Microsoft, I knew. So the name of the company was Mirai. It's SEO consulting. I think it's like SEO consulting basically. It's about consulting for companies on how to like improve their website search engine optimization and so on. Then after a while, I decided that I wanted to like make my own platform, my Mirai Gaia, and sell that to clients. So the idea has always been the same. It's basically a platform which I license to clients to use basically. So, so it has developed over the years, and I think now these days I'm getting more into publishing. So it's a very interesting area. So since publishing and getting into like character goods as well, like selling T-shirts and selling figures and so on. So so that's becoming very interesting as well. So this time when I go back to Japan, I'll be doing more writing. So one of the biggest computing magazines in Japan is called Weekly ASCII. They've asked me to write for them, and I'll be writing for them when I get back. So it's a model column, yeah. So it's called Shukan ASCII. And so for that magazine, I'll be writing about what's going on outside of Japan. So introducing like trends. Maybe, I don't know, like Japanese trends in France, for example. So basically, I would have a special portal, and I will ask you to like maybe submit your content, and then you'll get a credit like inside the post, basically. And I'm also writing for another magazine. So there's ASCII. They've released a magazine called Tokyo Kawaii Magazine. Something like that. So this is the magazine over here, and so this is volume 1. So it's got lots of different. It's got lots of different chapters. So it's got things like Tokyo, Akihabara, is it like Evangelion, T-shirts, and so on and so on. So if I take the Evangelion, yeah, it's just like. It's a magazine just for the iPhone, basically. So I'll be writing for this, and I will be introducing, because the target audience for this is people outside of Japan. So I'll be writing about stuff about Japan, and releasing this. So another very interesting thing we are doing is iPhone development. So this is quite interesting. Yeah. This is Mirai-chan, and she just types. That's all she does. And you can see her lovely oppais, just breathing. Okay, and it's going to be a plug, and we're going to distribute this for free. So we're doing like some iPhone applications as well. So the first iPhone application that was released by another company. They just licensed Mirai-chan, and they sold that for like $2. But this is we released this, and we're going to do this release for free, basically. And we'll also have another version of the clock whereby she will speak the time to you. So you can set it to say the time every minute. So she's saying, 13whatever. So you can like learn how to say the time in Japanese as well. So when I was in Japan, it must be 15 years ago, when I was living in London, I bought this clock from Sakuraya. Every time you press it, it would say the time. And I thought it was fantastic, so I should just press it all the time. When I brought it back to London, it was very nice. So, but yeah, it's fantastic for living in Japan. I've always wanted to live there. It started off from games. So I got myself a Mega Drive game machine. And who plays games over here? Games? So I think this is like back 15 years ago. I mean, there was only a Mega Drive, it was an import machine. And there was nothing official in the UK. And to get information about the machine, you had to go to a Japanese bookshop to buy like magazines. So I went to, there's a bookshop called the Japan Center, and I picked up Japanese magazines, and I couldn't read them at all. So I decided I wanted to start learning Japanese, so I started learning Japanese on my own. And then every time I go to the Japan Center, I would learn. I discover anime or manga, and then I discover idols. And then I discovered a lovely Japanese idol, which is very, very cute. And because I wanted to know more about her, I had to like learn more Japanese. So that helped me a lot. So how do you get your Japanese magazine in Paris? Is there like one bookshop? Is there like Kinokuniya? What bookshop?
Near Opera.
Oh, okay.
There's also book off in Opera.
Oh, really?
Japanese book off. It's funny because there's a French book off and a Japanese book off, so they're not far from each other.
What's the with the French book off? It's just French books.
Yeah, it's just French book, and the Japanese book off, only Japanese music. Everything you would find in a Japanese book.
And you can sell your own old second-hand books there. They pay you like really low.
So you buy it very low too.
Oh, okay.
Well, it depends.
I see. Okay. So you get books from book off there? Is it so they have good books or is it all rubbish books?
It's second-hand books, so it's funny, you can find magazines there.
Yeah. So another thing that really helped me like learn Japanese when I was in London. So living in London, I had no Japanese friends. There's like no Japanese environment at all. So one of the things I'd done was when I bought Japanese magazines. Another thing was I rented like VHS tapes of Japanese TV. But you can do that now on YouTube. So we had like no internet. So imagine no internet. Another thing I'd done was I put classified ads in the Japan Center looking for Japanese language exchange. So I would teach them English and they would teach me Japanese. So through that I first started to meet Japanese people and enabled me to like really speak Japanese. So it's really big. So that was a big step. And then another thing was working in a Japanese restaurant. So I worked in a Japanese restaurant called Benihana, and the manager was Chinese, but there was Japanese customers who came along, and they enabled me to like use my Japanese. So it was a very good experience. So the money I saved from working at Benihana's. So I'd worked for a whole year to save just enough money for a plane ticket to go to Japan.
One plane ticket? Only a plane ticket?
Only one plane ticket. Well, plane ticket and spending money. So it was about 600.
One way.
At the time it was two-way, so it was like about £600 for a ticket and £600 for spending money. So I would, every year I would get a ticket to go to Japan, then spend most of the money on the first day in Akihabara, basically. So from going to Japan to absorb the culture was like really important. So I think with any language, in order to speak language well, you need to like learn the culture. So learning the culture really helps learn language. So when I first started learning Japanese and I went to Japan, it was really difficult because I just didn't understand the culture at all. So the more you mix with Japanese folks, the more you start to like learn the culture and the better Japanese you can speak basically. So that's what I'm doing.
I got it.
Also another thing to like, if you learn Japanese, another thing to speed up your Japanese learning, what I done was, so you know kanji, you have to learn the stroke order usually. So I said, oh, I'm skipping this. So I skipped the stroke order so I can learn them much more quickly.
How did you learn kanji?
So kanji, there's one book, it's called A Guide to Japanese Characters by Tuttle. And I learned all my kanji just from that book. It's a fantastic book. Basically, it tells you why the kanji looks like it does, and it helps you remember. Why it's like.
Personally, I'm using the basic method.
Okay.
You know, you're already making mnemonics, stories.
Yeah, mnemonics, yeah.
And more crazy the stories, better it is to remember the kanji.
Yeah.
It's working quite well, but you don't learn pronunciation of the kanji.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah. So when you learn something new, you can't just put it in your head. So it's like if someone gave you something and just like threw it behind you at home, you're not going to find it. So you need to attach something to it so that you can remember. It basically. So Chris, he's a good guy. He's like trying his best to like learn Japanese, but now he's having some difficulties. So I need to like give him some ideas on how to remember some Japanese words. So, for example, so the word for table is square. And to remember this, I helped him imagine that you're sitting in front of a square table. So the kind of pronunciation is very similar. So he remembered it. So the word for spinach in Japanese is horenso. So how are you going to remember this word? Horenso.
The color orange.
Okay. So what's color orange in French?
Orange.
Orange, okay. So how about horenso? Horenso means spinach. How are you going to remember? Horenso means spinach. How are you going to remember that? Horenso. It's good. It's a tough one, eh? Horenso.
Spanish is easier. You have the name Lorenzo.
Oh, okay.
So you change the L
Yeah.
to an H.
Okay. Lovely. So like English folks, I just remembered. So horenso, it sounds like whole, rain, saw. Okay. So you have to imagine there's a big hall. And it's raining inside the hall. And there's some spinach, okay? And they're frozen spinach, and someone's using a saw to saw the spinach. Okay? So it's horenso. So if I ask you again in an hour, you may remember that because it's a silly scenario. It's hall, it's raining inside, there's a man sawing some frozen spinach. So that helps a lot. Really trying to like learn Japanese words.
I think we will remember it because of we were all searching how we could remember that. And, just that fact helped with
Yeah.
C'est chaud quoi.
Since when did you have that passion for Japanese culture and Japan? I mean, you are in the generation of anime and everything, but now people have that, that thing.
So,
Stuck in anime, that thing.
yeah. So, what happened was, after games, so one of the things that helped me, I went to London University, and then I managed to get myself a part-time job at Japan Airlines at the airport, and so that helped me like speak to use my Japanese to speak to Japanese customers. And then when I graduated Japan Airlines, they asked me whether I would like to join their computing division. So, but they wouldn't have asked me if I didn't study computing on my own. So basically, when I was a student, we took out a loan, we got a computer, and I basically learned how to use a computer basically. So back then, it was Windows 95, and I wanted to use Japanese, and if you wanted to use Japanese at the time, you had to partition your hard drive, and so I learned how to do all of that, and because I could do that, Japan Airlines, they wanted my skills. Japan Airlines, they had like a small company, and they had like other clients in London who they would look after, and we would maintain the computer systems as well. So really helping yourself like learn an extra skill on the side is like really important. So after working at Japan Airlines for a while, I was looking around on the internet for a new opportunity. Then I came across Nature, it's a scientific journal, and the job description was they needed somebody who was good at the internet, who could speak English and Japanese. And I think they wanted Chinese as well. And I saw the description and said, that's me. So I applied for the job. And I was like so confident I was going to get the job. I went home and I told my wife, we're going to Japan. And she said, yes. So I went for the interview, and the reason why he wanted someone who's native English. The reason why was because his Japanese wasn't very good, so he wanted someone English who could communicate with, basically. So, but he was also marketing his magazine in Korean as well, and I told him I could speak Korean as well, so he was like really surprised. We discussed during the interview how good it would be to have a Korean website for his business. So I suggested that they should have a Korean website. So I went home, I still remember that day. I stayed up until like really early in the morning, and I made a mock-up of a Korean website. It's software called Paint Shop Pro on Windows. I don't know if this will have that. And I just made this Korean mock-up webpage of Nature. I printed it out, I saved it onto a floppy disk, and then I asked the recruitment company where his hotel was. So they told me his hotel. I went to his hotel early in the morning, I put the floppy disk and printer under his door, and then I left. Then he woke up and he found this printout of the Korean website, which he was talking about the day before, and it looks like he was really impressed. So he called the recruitment company up and said, I want to speak to Danny immediately. So I went along to the interview and he said, Danny, I want to send you to Japan for a week of interviews and tests. So I was like really sure I was so confident I was going to get a job that because we was going to relocate to Japan, I took a suitcase full of books. Okay. And I went to Japan. I had a week of tests full of like filling out Excel spreadsheets and like doing translations, and basically the boss just wanted to see if I could get on with the other members of this. So after 1 week, the boss said, okay, thank you for coming, Danny. When you get back to the UK, I'll let you know. And in my head, I was thinking, UK books. What am I going to do about the books? You know, I can't take them back to the UK, right? So I just said to the boss, if you don't tell me now, I'll probably bite all my fingernails and toenails, and it'll be unpleasant because there'll be blood everywhere. So please tell me before I go back to London. So I went back to the hotel and I done everything I could. I was crying. So it was a week. I really wanted a job, and I just done everything I could basically. So I woke up, morning call. It was David, the boss of Nature, and he said, "Danny, we'd like you to join Nature." And it was at that point where my dream came true, basically, and I was just like so happy. So yeah, it's just try your best to just focus on what you want. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. If you was locked up inside a room, like no food, you're gonna break down the doors. You're gonna break down windows. You're gonna go outside and look for food, basically. So that was the instinct which I had inside of me, and I guess I done it. Basically. So I was very happy about it. So. Yeah. And I think the Japanese language is really important for getting yourself a good position in Japan. Because I know lots of gaijin folks that live in Japan, but they don't really speak Japanese. So most of them, they just end up teaching English, which is fine for some people, but it's not a great job. So if you have like good language ability, Japanese, French, maybe English ability as well, together with an extra skill. You need an extra skill with the language, otherwise you're going to end up just being a translator. If you've got like marketing skills or design skills, then you can easily get a job. One of the things that Japanese companies like to ask for is something called a jiseki. So jiseki is what's the word? It's like an achievement. It's like to prove something that you've done something. You know. So it's like when you go to meet with a Japanese company, they'll say, "Jiseki arimasu ka?" So have you got something to show that you are the best? So you say, "Yeah, I used to work for," like your case. Say, "I used to work for Uniqlo. I've done this, and this for them, and I can do this for you." So having something to prove to them is like really important. So Chris, he's the guy who I hired. He doesn't speak a lot of Japanese at all. Like he had jiseki, which means an achievement basically. So Chris, he got a job with me. He originally came over to Japan on they call it a working holiday. And apparently Japan and England, they have an agreement which makes it easy for you to get like a working holiday in Japan. So he got like a year visa and he was like freelancing. And he started to, so I tend to like people who've been down in Choo, and I tend to want to give them more opportunities than somebody who doesn't want to do that in Choo. So I'm always trying to like spot looking for talented folks who read my website and give them opportunities basically. So Chris, he was like reading Danicho.com, and I invited him to CGM night so I could like meet him face to face. And he'd done lots of stuff on the web as well, so I really liked his work. And I asked him whether he actually asked me for like a job a few times, and I gave him a trial. He came along, he done some stuff, he delivered, so I hired him basically. So it's very important to like have something to show that you can do something.